You know, if I had to describe social media right now regarding gaming and Xbox, it would look something like this. Now, yes, I know some would describe social media on a normal day, well, just like this, but especially the last couple days for Xbox gamers and those who cover gaming news, it has been a wild time. From the rumors about some Xbox games going over to other platforms, to reports about a game needing both a subscription fee and the Xbox Live fee, from reports from Microsoft saying that numbers were up, to even more rumors about all of the Xbox games now in their library going to multi-platform. And this is all from a pretty reliable source. Oh, and finally, Phil Spencer himself saying that next week they're going to reveal all of their plans, at least public plans. Obviously, they're not going to go into company secrets or anything, but regardless, that is a lot right there. So we got a lot to cover. I just have some basic bullet points here, and we got to get straight into this. However, due to all of the info that is out there and everything that we've simply listed already, being reported, rumors, official, etc., we are going to be breaking this video into sections. So if you want to check the pinned comment or check the timeline on the video right now to see exactly what part you maybe already know about, but you haven't really seen, or you want to see how we're talking about it compared to others, then check those down below. Finally, at the end, as always, though, I'm going to give my 2 cents about how I kind of feel about this. What do I personally see as someone who is kind of looked at gaming ever since I was a kid, watched early YouTube videos and live streams, read magazines back in the day. Yeah, comment down below if you know what a magazine is. And overall, just kind of answering the big question, what does this mean for the future of not only Xbox, but just the gaming industry as a whole? Because let me tell you, I've seen both sides of the spectrum when it comes to this particular news and stuff that has been going on for about a week now. And the reason we didn't cover all of it beforehand was because, well, something new just kept coming out every like 2 hours. So I was like, okay, looks like we finally have a little bit of a break. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe this video is already going to be, obsolete by the time I'm done editing it and I post this and everything. But regardless, we're still going to talk about it finally because we still have to wait until next week when we get the official statement from Phil, and then I'm sure the internet's going to explode at that point, at least the gaming side of things. But of course, we always want to know what your personal thoughts are as well. We know this kind of topic can be very sensitive, so all I ask is that we simply have a civilized conversation in the comments as best as we can, all right? Anyway, let's get started into this. All right, like we said, we're going to break this down into sections. We're going to first go with some straight up facts, stuff that we know, stuff that has been confirmed by either both Microsoft or other trusted outlets, essentially, or, basically Microsoft or Xbox has said it, and they simply have just gotten a report on it. Then we'll get into things like the rumors, and I know what people roll their eyes at rumors and everything, but there is a lot of trust behind some of these rumors because not only have they been correct for like years on end, they also have a lot of inside knowledge and the people they've talked with in Xbox and everything. So we're going to talk about that stuff, and then finally I'm going to give my 2 cents. So again, let's just start with some facts. Now, as of last week, Microsoft reported its latest fiscal year, including everything from Windows, laptops, PC software, and of course Xbox. Now, the following on Xbox, of course, is what everyone here watching this video is most interested in. So I'm going to skip over the Surface tablets and all that kind of stuff, but I just want to read this article right here. I'm not going to read the full article. It'll be linked down below if you want to check out everything. Now, I'm going to quote from the beginning of the Xbox section to the end of the Xbox section because I need everybody to see what has been happening since the beginning of last week, give or take, because if you already know what happened back then, that also was when Microsoft was named a $3 trillion company in terms of stocks and everything. They don't have the physical cash of $3 trillion, even though they're still pretty rich regardless. And then also all the layoffs that are on top of all the huge tech industry stuff. So this article comes from The Verge, written by Tom Warren, quote right here. Speaking of devices, all eyes are on Microsoft gaming division for the company's latest earnings. Microsoft is now reporting Activision Blizzard revenue as part of its gaming unit, bolstering overall revenue in the Xbox content. Xbox content and service revenue, which includes Xbox Game Pass, is up by a massive 61%. That's largely because of Activision Blizzard's revenue, so it's difficult to understand immediately how Xbox did without this giant addition. Microsoft says that the net impact from the Activision Blizzard acquisition is just over $2 billion in revenue, but the cost of integration, transaction costs, and other costs of revenue all total about $930 million. With other operating expenses, $1.5 billion, it works out to an operating loss of $440 million. While the Activision Blizzard acquisition is complete, Microsoft laid off 1,900 workers in its gaming division earlier this month, primarily affecting Activision Blizzard employees. Microsoft has also been overhauling its Xbox management in recent months and even named a new Blizzard president early this year. Xbox hardware is also up by 3% from the all-important holiday quarter. Microsoft ran a number of Xbox Series X promotions during the holidays in the US, but that doesn't appear to have resulted in a big boost in sales and revenue. Hood blamed a weaker than expected console market. Overall, Microsoft's gaming revenue is up by 49%, again, mainly boosted by better than expected Activision Blizzard revenues. It's an important quarter for gaming at Microsoft as it's now the company's third largest business. Gaming contributed $7.11 billion in revenue for the quarter, more than $5.26 billion from Windows, but behind the $13.47 billion from Office and cloud services, and the giant $23.95 billion from server products and cloud services. Once again, there are no fresh Xbox Game Pass subscriber numbers. Microsoft said Xbox Game Pass has grown to 25 million subscribers in January of 2022, but we haven't had an update for almost 2 years. Nadella did reveal in the last quarter's earnings that the STARFIELD had contributed to Xbox Game Pass growth. On launch, we set a record for the most Game Pass subscriptions added in a single day ever. The final bit of the quote states that Microsoft CFO Amy Hood expects overall gaming revenue to grow to low 40% region, with 45 points due to Activision Blizzard. This means the rest of Microsoft's gaming efforts revenue could be down next quarter. Xbox content and services in quarter 3 is expected to be low to mid 50%, driven by around 50 points of net impact from the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Xbox hardware revenue will decline year over year for quarter 3, says Hood. Ooh, now that is a lot to unpack right there, but the way I basically look at it is that the main points are as stated. Overall, the gaming aspect of Microsoft, which is what Xbox is doing very well. Then with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, that has just boosted their numbers up significantly, right? It even states in the article that because of that acquisition, it has boosted numbers significantly, despite the fact that they did lay off 1,900 people. If you want to know more details about all that stuff, check out the video in the top right corner. We go into great detail all about that, and honestly, I really hope everyone affected by that is being able to bounce back a little bit. It's been tough in the not only the gaming industry, but just the tech industry as well because of what happened. Again, check that video out. So overall, that's looking pretty good, right? However, this is where things kind of start to go roller coaster style, essentially. So we're not getting into the rumors just yet, but obviously this is when the rumors really started to pick up pace here. And then on top of that, we got another piece of information reported on how Xbox is finally getting Final Fantasy XIV beta and the full release on the console finally, after Xbox and Square have not really seen eye to eye in some aspects, but Phil Spencer has been making the runs, especially here during TGS. He's been coming over here to Tokyo and saying that they want to make relations better to get more of Square's games onto its platforms, which is always good right there. However, we did find something out that's not exactly the greatest. Basically, you'll need to have the regular FF14 subscription cost per month, and Xbox players will need to, on top of that, have Xbox Live, aka Xbox Game Pass Core, to play the full release of Final Fantasy XIV. It's not required for the beta, but it will be required again for the full release. To compare that to PlayStation and PC, where this game has been released for a number of years now, neither require an online subscription. This is mostly aimed at the PlayStation side of this, who has PlayStation Plus, which is, the quote-unquote equivalent to the Xbox Game Pass Core. PC doesn't require any silly subscriptions or anything like that. So basically, all PlayStation and PC players just simply have to pay for the monthly subscription for this particular MMO, but now Xbox players are going to have to not only pay for that monthly subscription, but also keep up their Xbox Game Pass. Now, I know a lot of console players generally have either Xbox Game Pass Core or they have PlayStation Plus, regardless, right? But if you're somebody who either doesn't like the service or you don't have the money to pay for it maybe, then you don't have to worry about that if you're on PlayStation. But you do now if you're on the Xbox side of things. Again, PC, we don't have to care about that stuff. So it's not really the best look for something finally coming over to the Xbox platform when a lot of players are finally feeling like they're starting to kind of get the momentum back. You talk to almost anyone and most people are going to tell you that the Xbox One was not the greatest time for the Xbox ecosystem and the gamers and all that kind of stuff. However, they're finally kind of starting to pick up some pace now. 2023 was, I wouldn't say like top of the top year for them or anything like that, but they had some really good games released, and there's a lot of promise coming here in 2024 and hopefully going into 2025. Not going to look anything past that because dates change all the time. And one of those kind of big releases is finally getting a huge game like Final Fantasy 14 on there, but now you're going to have to, you know, basically do double subscriptions in order to even play the game. Okay, not terrible, a little kind of a bumpy road there, but nonetheless, still good, right? We're starting to see more games come to the platform, which is always good. Now is when we basically have to look at after that Microsoft earnings report up until now, and there are a ton of rumors. And now, I know, like I said in the beginning of the video, that this is where most people would roll their eyes saying, rumors, oh, come on. However, these are not just your average Twitter rumors that someone just randomly posts and everyone's like, oh yeah, you totally went into Photoshop, made that photo to look somewhat professional or somewhat real, and we're all just going to believe that, right? Most of us are smarter than that, right? However, this is coming from sources either within Xbox who have talked to some of these outlets, or people who have deep connections with people over in Microsoft/Xbox. And basically it comes down to the fact that Microsoft is looking to bring a ton of their games, first party games, by the way, over to other platforms. The two ones that stuck out at the beginning were both Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. Now, Hi-Fi Rush has like apparently been data mined and everything in terms of like the Xbox version on some of the cosmetics and everything that you can see right here on screen. And there seemed to be a Switch version and a PlayStation version, which makes sense. Both of those consoles can run Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is a much smaller game compared to some other big AAA games and everything. I mean, it's a bad game or anything like that. That's just the case it is, right? It's a much smaller game. Everyone knows that. But a lot of people loved the game and everything. So them selling it on other platforms does actually match with what they've actually stated in the past, because there are times where I feel like people from Microsoft have been like, yes, we want our stuff on as many platforms as you can get to, right? As of right now, you can obviously play games on Xbox and on PC. However, if you use things like the cloud service and everything that Microsoft provides, you can access those games on your tablets, your laptops, all that stuff, right? Because it, again, uses cloud, it uses the internet and all that. And so that's already kind of going in that direction right there. But I was watching some other videos from other content creators, especially those who cover a lot of Xbox things, and they were talking about how it feels like Microsoft is slowly starting to be like, yeah, we're going to say this. Phil Spencer tries to come out and like, you know, deny it essentially. But Microsoft has been like, yeah, no, we're going to do this essentially. So seeing things like Hi-Fi Rush going on to other platforms, this does kind of match up with what the big higher ups want to do in terms of getting all their content onto as many other platforms as possible. Now, some people have been a little bit peeved about this because, again, Hi-Fi Rush wasn't exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. I would say Xbox ecosystem only, but obviously there's PC involved, and you know, some people are going to argue, oh, Microsoft and PC and yada yada. Look, honestly, if you wanted to, you don't even need either PlayStation or Xbox. Just have a PC and have a Switch if you want to. Or if you really want to start going down some deep holes, you know, just have a PC. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But anyway, getting back on track. The other game is Sea of Thieves. Now, this game has been out for like, what, 5-6 years, give or take. And it's an online service game. So it does kind of make sense that you'd want to increase the players in that game, because there is a good sized following in that game currently right now. So how do you get more numbers into a game like that, where a live service is meant to bring in a lot of money month after month? Well, you put it on other platforms, right? You bring it over to PlayStation, bring it over to wherever else you can, right? So that does make sense right there. And I think for most people, at least from what I've seen online and everything, most people are like, okay, you know, it's a 6-year-old game, boohoo, whatever. It's been out for a long time. Then we start getting some of the crazy rumors where it's going into the fact that now a lot of Bethesda games are potentially going over to PlayStation 5. And we're not just talking like these, you know, Bethesda games that are like 5-6 years old or anything like that. We're talking STARFIELD and the new Indiana Jones game potentially. And again, those articles right here, they're up on the screens that you can see right now. And a lot of people are like, wait, what? Like, STARFIELD was supposed to be the big game for Xbox last year, right? And regardless how you feel about it, it did boost Game Pass numbers. We don't actually know any sales numbers or anything, and it hasn't had the warmest reception after the initial release and initial reviews. In fact, I think on Steam right now, it's not at the highest. I think it's at a mixed right now, but that could go down, that could go up. Who's to say right there? So a lot of people are just like, wait, what? You're going to be putting this onto other platforms and everything? Let's be honest, it's basically going to become PlayStation, not Switch, because there's no way Switch can handle, these big higher games and everything. Maybe the Switch 2 or Switch Pro, who knows? But regardless, that's potentially what it's looking for. And now even something like Indiana Jones. Now, obviously, a lot of these rumors are not talking about, well, is this going to be like day one, like same as Xbox, or is it going to kind of do what PlayStation does with PC releases, where it releases on PlayStation first, and then about a year or two later, it will release on PC right there, depending on what the game is and everything like that. That's one thing we simply just don't know. But we have seen this kind of thing work where it's exclusive to one platform for a while, and then it goes somewhere else. Again, PlayStation's been doing this with PC for a while. Xbox already makes games on PC day one for the most part. So that's definitely making some people scratch their heads. But now we're even starting to see rumors about something like Halo going on to PlayStation 5, Gears of War. Like, what? Like, I started gaming back in the late 90s. The first console I ever got was the Game Boy Color. And whenever I think of certain either games or franchises or anything like that, when I think Gears, when I think Halo, I think Xbox. I played Halo 2 on my friend's Xbox, doing sleepovers and everything on the weekends. We'd be up till 5 a.m. sometimes, and we had to, make sure not to yell too loud when something happened, trying to play in the hardest difficulty, trying to go across the bridge or anything like that. If you know, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't think Halo when I think PlayStation or anything like that, right? PlayStation is your God of War and all that stuff, right? Which makes sense. The same thing with like Nintendo. When Nintendo, you think Mario, Zelda, all that kind of stuff. So to think that there's a chance that this stuff is going on to other platforms, aka PlayStation right now, that just makes me go, wait, what? Are they serious right now? And again, I know these are rumors and everything, and we're gonna find out eventually from Phil next week if this is true or not, because the one thing Microsoft is not the greatest at, and it doesn't matter who you talk to. I've seen Xbox purists, I've seen people who cover a lot of Xbox news, I know people who don't particularly like Xbox, and they all agree without a shadow of a doubt that the communication from Microsoft Xbox when it comes to either some big rumors out there and the narrative is running away from them, they are terrible at responding. And this is the same thing that's happening right now. It's been over a week since all this stuff is happening, and we just now get this kind of cryptic kind of CEO tweet from Phil saying, we're going to talk about this stuff next week, or something about their plans for Xbox. It's like, okay. And if you actually go back in kind of mid 2023, if you're paying attention to the acquisition with Activision Blizzard and Xbox, then you might have seen some of the statements or leaked documents, or I say leaked documents, but it was really more like someone forgot to, use the right marker in terms of redacting documents, and we get to see a lot of this inside information and everything, where this lines up with them wanting to, again, put a ton of stuff onto multi-platforms. And going back to the Bethesda side of things, we know that Bethesda is not exactly happy with Activision kind of getting this special treatment that some of their games are going to stay multi-platform, where Bethesda was forced to go single platform. We know that because we saw those emails and everything. So it's really interesting to kind of look at it from that perspective. So that's all of the rumors. That's all the facts from the first part and all the rumors that we know. And again, I'm sure more stuff is going to be coming out as the next few days go on, up until we see whatever Phil's going to talk about, whether it's in a video, a live stream, or you name it. We don't actually know how he's going to address it or anything. So now I want to give my 2 cents on this, because a lot of people are either saying this is great, games are going everywhere now. Other people are like, what? This is gonna like change gaming drastically for the worst and all this stuff. The way I look at this personally, as someone who, again, used to play a ton of Xbox back in junior high and high school days, I don't necessarily play on the Xbox console and stuff now because I play everything on my PC, because I can just get that stuff right there. When I look at this, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Xbox leaving the console space. Because if you leave the console space, you're basically becoming Sega. If you don't know, Sega used to make a console way back in the days, fighting with Nintendo and everything. And where are they now? They're just a publisher and a game creator, which is totally fine. I mean, it does work out. But the thing I'm most concerned about when it comes to something like this is that without Xbox, regardless of how good you think they've done ever since the beginning, or only in this previous generation, or the Xbox 360 days or anything like that, it bred competition. And without them in the hardware/software area of gaming and only doing like publishing and making games, I feel like that's going to make Sony pretty lazy because they are going to have a definitive foot in gaming space. The Switch / Nintendo, they always do their own thing. And that's basically it. There's nothing else, right? There's no other competition from them. And Sony, look, I like all of Sony's first party games for the most part, but you can't deny they've been doing way more remakes / remasters than ever before. They're going into live service game, which has already started to, slap them over the face essentially. And it's like, where's some of the, new games and everything like that? I'm not talking about Insomniac. I've been seeing some people comment about how they want new games from some of these places and everything. And it's just like, well, they're finishing out trilogies or doing all this kind of stuff, but there's none of those like smaller games where they take risks or anything like that. And it's like all of that stuff. And again, I know I can't cover everything in this video, otherwise this video would be 50 hours long essentially. But it's just something I'm not so sure about, essentially, right? Would it be cool to play Halo on PlayStation? Sure, why not? I guess it would be. I already played on PC, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm just worried that that's gonna be a pretty negative impact on the gaming industry itself when there's no competition. Because when there's no competition, whoever's in the lead, aka at this point it would basically be Sony, they can set the terms of everything, right? Cost of games going up, cost in the stores and everything, how things work, what's innovative, what's not, all that stuff. There's just so much of it, and I'm really worried about that personally. Not to mention that if you again paid attention to the acquisition documents and everything, Xbox is trying to really push Game Pass, and their goal is to try and hit like 100 million subscribers by, I believe, 2029, 2030. I can't remember if that was the actual year or the fiscal year. But doing this, that's not going to do that. Again, we don't know many details, but if they did same day release on PlayStation, why would you go onto Game Pass, even though it can be a great deal for some like indie games and AA games and everything like that? But if so many people are already on PlayStation in terms of a box, like a physical box compared to Xbox gamers, that's just straight facts right there, by the way. I'm just looking at sales numbers. Then most people will just simply go buy the game over there. Or if it is delayed, I saw this from some other content creators on YouTube and everything, they're worried that Xbox players are becoming the beta testers essentially, right? You release it day one on Xbox, they try it out, they get all the bugs, the glitches all fixed and everything, whatever DLC released, and then that full package is released on PlayStation. They say other platforms, but basically PlayStation at that point. And that is a major slap in the face right there. That just, man, that's, I don't know how I feel about that personally. So again, I know on this channel and everything, I've always been hard on Xbox personally. It's because I want them to do the best. I've said that multiple times in all my videos on this channel, but I'm just, I don't really know what to think about this really. Again, I'm just trying to give my 2 cents on this entire thing. If all of these, let's just say for example, all of these rumors turn out to be true, all of them do, right? And just for example, let's just say Xbox says, okay, they're going to be same day as they would release on the Xbox box essentially and the PlayStation box. And I guess if they do go to Switch, then great, they do. Then it's just like, okay, so you guys are giving up on the box right there, and you're only going to be focusing on the games and being the publisher and everything, which again, if maybe it does work, I don't know. I know there's a lot, I personally see a lot of negatives to it, but maybe there's some hidden stuff that we don't see from the business side of everything, right? Or maybe Xbox doesn't really want to do this, but guess what? The higher ups at Microsoft are like, look, we just paid $70 billion to get you Activision. We want a return on our investments. That might sound like a harsh statement, but again, their business, they have every right to make returns on those investments, especially when you spend something like $70 billion to acquire someone as big as Activision, and then unfortunately laid off, 1,900 people. I know it wasn't only in Activision, but it was a lot of them were from Activision, and then kind of trying to rearrange how everything works and everything like that. Like, I get the business side of everything, but at the same time, it's just like, damn. So I don't really know what to expect at this point. Again, I've already said it many times in this video right here. There are positives, there are negatives. I'm seeing mostly negatives personally myself, with a few positives, again, unless maybe there's some high 4D level chess move that the business side sees, and I'm just like, oh, okay, 5 years down the road, this could be amazing. I doubt it, but that's just my 2 cents right there. So I want to know your personal opinion right now. Let me know down in comments below. First off, do you think these rumors are going to be true? What are your thoughts on the Final Fantasy 14 stuff? Because the whole reason I brought that up right there is because if they are going to stay within the console space right there, and they're trying to bring other games from other places that have not really been on the platform and everything. I don't think having both the subscription costs and needing the Xbox Game Pass core costs, that's not the greatest look and everything. Like, that is literally gonna make people not want to play it on Xbox. Just saying right there. So let me know your thoughts on that, and then let me know your thoughts on all of these rumors. Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad if this does happen? And you know what? If you happen to see this video after the next week and we've seen Phil Spencer's statement and everything, let me know. What's it looking like right now? Of course, we're going to cover that all. So if you want to see our personal thoughts and opinions on his statement next week, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video so that we know you enjoy this type of content. And if you haven't already, check out our other videos. We got guides on all the latest games, and we have discussions on pretty much anything when it comes to gaming related. And if you want to talk live with us, come join us in our live streams. I like to talk about this stuff when I'm hanging out and playing other games and everything like that. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you come join us and we can just have a nice conversation about all this stuff. But anyway, everyone, I'm going to wrap it up there, though. I've been Tallen with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us in the video today. I can't wait to see your comments down below. Let's keep it civilized as always. And I hope you have a great day and a great week. Until next time, everyone. Johnny.